Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to be making what I will probably be the last video that I make in this house because I'm actually moving in a few days. Yep, I'm in the half in, half out state where half my stuff's in boxes and the other half's got to be loaded in the last couple of days. So, yep, it's probably the last video in this house. It's been a good time, but let's get to the issue here. Now, I really don't want to talk about gun control and guns and everything because that has been raging in the media for the past week and a half ever since the shooting in Florida. And I've already, everything I will say in this video has already been said a million thousand times. There is nothing new to be said about gun control and about mass shooting, gun violence in the U.S. in general. It's already been said. But the problem is that oh my god, how do I even comprehend the stupidity of the stuff I'm seeing on the fucking internet and the fucking media? Um, the problem, this video in a summary, is that the people advocating to ban the AR-15, to confiscate AR-15s in general, because that's the big, nasty, scary gun. Excuse me. They do not realize the implications if they actually were to implement that policy. That is the whole issue I have with this, is that people think that if we take away assault rifles, or specifically the AR-15, because that was the one used in Florida, then mass shootings will significantly decrease. And I'm sitting here thinking, I hate it. I hate it when people base their policy recommendations or who they vote for and what the positions they have on issues based on pure emotional empty rhetoric. They do what feels good for them, and they don't even spend a nanosecond in thinking of implications of the policies they're advocating for. And I will demonstrate through statistics, because that's what I fucking care about. I care about the actual numbers of deaths versus that will result in the policies that I'm advocating for, the policies that these far libtard fucknuts are advocating for. Like, just, I know people's emotions run high whenever children are killed. That is understandable. But for a lawmaker who is completely separated from the issue, like a lawmaker in Congress, has no personal connection to any of this. He or she needs to have a level-headed mind in making policy and deciding, what will result in less deaths of the people I am representing. But they don't. They're just virtual signaling faggots. That's all I can fucking describe these people, because they are so stupid. I will go through this shit ad nauseum to try to explain to these people that why banning assault rifles, or specifically just the AR-15, because the AR-15 is there are so many AR-15s in the country. If you actually think that banning it, I don't even know what they actually mean. Do they mean just banning it and then just hoping to catch it as it pops up in police raids or whatever, or do they actually want to confiscate all AR-15s from people who own them? There are so many problems with all of these policies that they're advocating for. First of all, there is not one unified liberal or democratic, when I say democratic, I mean Democrats versus Republicans. There's not one unified policy that they are advocating for. There are some radicals that are actually advocating to confiscate all guns from Americans. Then you say, "Oh, that's a strawman argument." No one's saying that no one's going to take your guns. That's just like you're just strawmanning people. It's like, no, look at the fucking comments on any Facebook post regarding this shooting, or in any political page in general when they allow comments. There are plenty of liberals advocating to confiscate all guns from Americans. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen these comments on the internet. I've talked to people in person who advocate for this. Okay, this is not a straw man. There are actual radical liberals who want to do this. That is a huge fucking problem. I will demonstrate. I know I'm getting to it. But that is a fringe part of the Democratic voters. Like, the Democrats, the vast majority of them do not advocate that. And I acknowledge that. But a huge amount of them want to specifically ban assault rifles or the AR-15. That is also a huge problem. 5 million Americans own an AR-15. Okay? So let's say the liberals get their way and they just ban this one gun. That is not counting banning all assault rifles, which would just jump that 5 million by millions and millions, and the tens of millions, if you want to ban all assault rifles because they're scary and they have large magazines and they're all black. Oh my god. Okay. There are 5 million to 10 million AR-15s owned in the United States, owned by 5 million Americans. So you're advocating for the U.S. government to conduct, I don't know, like house raids, like to conduct war on the American population and find these 5 million Americans and take away their AR-15s? Are you fucking kidding me? This is the whole crux of the issue that I'm getting to, is that if you enact just this one policy, I'm not talking about total gun confiscation, I'm not talking about banning all assault rifles, I'm talking about just banning the AR-15 itself, which I don't even own, but a lot of 5 million people do. I own another assault rifle. But it's like, just doing this one thing, which is considered common sense gun control, will result in the second American Civil War. And you think, oh, that's no exaggeration. No, these 5 million people, lots of them will give them up without a fight. A lot of them won't. And a lot of people who don't own AR-15s like me will see this happening and see that, oh, they're coming for AR-15s, well, they're going to come for AK-47s next. And then SKSs after that. And then every single other assault rifle that's out there. And then there's still an infringement on the Second Amendment, infringement on the rights that is given to every single person on the planet, not just Americans. I don't believe in the whole Constitution artificially giving rights to Americans that other people aren't allowed to. No, every single person, regardless of what country they live in, what race they are, what creed they believe in, or their gender, whatever, every single person has the right to own a gun to defend themselves, because every single person has the right to life. And to defend your right to life in this day and age requires a gun. Back in the day, it was a sword. Every single person should be able to own a weapon, a sword back in, the 1100s, whatever, and now a gun now. Every single person has that right, and that's why I will defend this right to the death, because the right to life is the most important right you have. Without that right, all rights are meaningless. If you are getting shot in the face by some jackboot from some authoritarian government, your right to peacefully assemble, or right to religion matters jack shit if you're fucking dead. I mean, it's just, I don't believe this is like really hard to understand. So we've already established that if the U.S. just banned the AR-15, just that one type of assault rifle, it will cause a second American Civil War. Many people will rise up against the government, rightly so, because they're infringing on Second Amendment rights. Lots of other people who don't even own AR-15s will also rise up against the government. You will have a uprising on a national level. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people will die in this uprising just because you wanted your fifi satisfied and you want to ban this scary looking gun. Like, cities will lose power. Society will collapse. There will be roving mobs of thugs and rapists who take advantage of the absence of law authority because they've gotten beaten by the rebels or whatever, will turn into fucking Syria. All these people who don't own guns because that's barbaric and uncivilized, they're going to get mass raped and murdered by all these people taking advantage of the chaos. It's just like, oh, okay. You want that to be your policy in order to stop what? Let's look through these stats. There were 372 mass shootings in the U.S. in 2015, killing 475 people. 475 people. Yeah, that's a lot of people. That's bad. Killing anyone, any innocent person, is bad. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not acting like a callous asshole who doesn't care that people are getting killed. But you have to look in relevance to other stats in order to make policy. You can't just see that number like, we need to get that number down to 0. We need to ban all AR-15s. Like, you can't do that as a politician. You can't do that as a responsible voter or an American. But lots of people just disregard that and just totally look at that. Oh, they killed 475 people. We need to ban the thing that's doing this. That 475 people is out of 13,286 people killed by U.S. firearms in this 1 year. We're just taking a look at this one case study, this 1 year, 2015. 13,000 including suicide. We're not talking about suicides, we're just homicides. So out of the 13,286 homicides committed by Americans by firearms in 2015, a tiny sliver percentage of that were mass shootings. 475. Mass shootings, even though they are on the rise, but the number of mass shootings are on the rise every year, they are a tiny percentage of all of the gun homicides in the U.S. So, to enact the Second American Civil War, to save, let's round up to 500. 500 people killed each year by mass shootings. Let's say in 2017 it was 600 because it's going up a little bit. I'm using this as an example. To save those small amount of people, to enact the Second American Civil War, which result in the death of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans, that makes absolutely no sense, and why that policy is completely brain dead, and why everyone advocating for banning AR-15s are not thinking with this with a rational, logical mind. Why would you, these deaths are tragic, don't get me wrong, but if you had a choice between 475 people, let's say 500, 600 people dying every single year for mass shootings, and then between that and then hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the Second American Civil War, which one would you choose? But the average American voter, the average American fucknut who can't even drive without swerving or running stop signs, the average American who's completely brain dead, does not factor this equation whenever they're thinking about who they're voting for or what policies they're advocating for. They don't have the brain power for that. Here's another one. The leading cause of death in the U.S. Now, we already looked that 13,000 people, blah, 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 killed by homicides by firearms. That's roughly about the same every single year. Actually, we can look that up, just so you don't think I'm making shit up. Wow, that messed up. So it's comparing U.S. gun deaths to terrorism. We're not talking about terrorism here. We're talking about U.S. gun deaths, gun homicides, not including suicides. So roughly, it stayed about the same throughout a decade span. You know, it peaked a little bit there and then went down. So basically, around the 12,000 mark. Okay, so we can safely say that 12,000 Americans are killed by guns and homicides every single year. Okay. You have to put that in comparison. That's a horrible number. Don't get me wrong. That is a high number compared to other countries. But you have to put in comparison to everything else in order to make effective policy. Heart disease kills 173... How do you fucking... 173,000 people every single year. No. Over a 10-year period. Sorry. Look how much more these other things kill people every single year. Like automobile accidents, I think in the last recorded year, so maybe 2016 is the last year they fully did it. Oh, no. Let's look it up because I don't want you to look at these tabs I have open. U.S. auto deaths per year. 37,000 people die in road crashes every single year. 37,000 versus the 13,000 people, or the 12,000 killed. People die in auto accidents 3 times more than all of the gun homicides in the U.S. And that's actually rising too, because I think in 2016 it was like in the 50,000s. I remember 40,000. 40,000 people died in auto accidents in 2016 alone, and we're talking about an average of 12,000. That's remained the same. I wish I could have a graph. I want you to link that one. I put all these links in the description as always. Let's pick the same year. We did 2016. Let's do the same year so I can compare the same year. Wow, it was so much higher. Are you kidding me? Holy shit. So that goes a little higher. That counts suicide, so that's not what we're comparing. Sorry, you get my fucking point here. So this is what we're talking about. This is the whole... I'm going to wrap this up now because I spent a couple minutes just jumping around graphs. People want to enact the Second American Civil War to save a few thousand people over several years. Why aren't they asking for such drastic changes for all the other deaths that are considerably killing so much more? It is so insane. That's the only thing I can think of. To start the Second American Civil War to save a couple of thousand people from mass shootings, and even then, mass shootings are only 1%. Oh, where was that? Yeah, mass shootings are only 1% of the entire people killed by homicides. That just makes sense. If you look at the top, 20 killers of America, and you look at number 20, you ignore the first 19 and look at number 20, it's like, that's too high. We need to start the Second American Civil War in order to do that. It's just like, that is what I'm calling out in this video. That is what is just so insane. These people... Okay, now, oh my god, I can't even form a coherent sentence because this is, the amount of stupidity I had to absorb in order to, talk about this is mind-boggling, and it's, legit hurting my brain. So, what do I advocate for? Banning the AR-15 or banning assault rifles isn't the solution. What is the solution? Having armed guards, policemen in schools who will actually do their fucking job. I've talked about arming teachers before, but if the teachers are not qualified, you can arm teachers who are qualified to shoot firearms, who are adept at using firearms, like people who have taken concealed weapons classes, who have taken defensive pistol courses, whatever. But I am never advocating for it, and no one, not even Trump, no one is advocating for just blanketly giving teachers guns that, here you go, defend your classroom. No one is saying that. That is an actual straw man. Do not ever say that. That is a fucking lie. No one is saying just give a pistol to Deborah, who's 85 fucking years old, and say defend your classroom. No one is saying that. What people are saying is that we have a custodian, Jordan, who was a Marine or a National Guard or whatever, and then now he's a custodian, or now he's a janitor, or now he's a food service person, whatever, and all the kids know him as Jordan the janitor, Jordan the food service, Jordan the cafeteria worker, but he's actually packing a pistol, and he knows how to use it very fucking well. That is what we need. Or we need armed policemen, armed guards, who, again, you can make it undercover so the kids don't get freaked out about it. But if you want armed policemen, like we had armed policemen in my high school, and it didn't freak me out. It kind of annoyed other people because they were jerks towards us, but that was the only thing. It didn't actually scare us. It just kind of annoyed us. So that is what we need. And you're going to say, well, the Florida shooting had a armed guard. He didn't do anything. Yeah, he's a fucking pussy. You can't use an example of when someone doesn't do their job and then say, oh, well, that solution won't work. No, you need people to actually do their jobs. You're pointing out someone who didn't do I'm saying this is the job we need. Policemen, armed guards who protect the children, and then you point to someone who didn't do that and say, well, this is the reason why your idea doesn't work. That doesn't correlate to anything what I'm saying. He was a fucking pussy, and the people defending him saying, oh, he only had a pistol and can't go up against a person with AR-15. If you are a police person, a police guard, or whatever, even if you're not an actual police officer, you're just an armed security person who didn't go through the police academy, but you just have a gun, and you can't fight off a teenager with AR-15 to save children, then no, you're still a fucking pussy, and I will totally fucking judge you on that. People are saying we can't judge him because he was scared for his life or whatever. No, bullshit. There are kids dying, and he was sitting out there like a fucking pussy. I will absolutely call him a fucking pussy. And then people will say, oh, well, you don't know how you would react in such a situation. Well, I mean, I can truthfully say that I would go in there, but then that would be acting like an internet tough guy. So I can't disprove that without acting like an internet tough guy. But I know myself more than you guys, and I know that I would go in there. In close quarters combat, okay, I have to explain tactics to you people if you're not military people. A rifle has superior advantage over a pistol in outdoor combat, like in the field, in a battlefield, outside, whatever, because a rifle can shoot significantly farther and more accurate over hundreds of yards than a pistol. But in close quarters combat, the accuracy is the same. If you're shooting people within 10 yards of each other, a pistol or a assault rifle doesn't make a difference. In fact, a pistol has more advantage in close combat. A pistol was made for close combat situations. You can maneuver the pistol faster than you can a bulkier rifle. So actually, if he got into it with the teenager with AR-15, he would have the advantage because he can maneuver his weapon faster. So that bullshit of, oh, he only had a pistol and he's going against a teenager with AR-15, he's a fucking teenager. He has no military training experience whatsoever. And you're saying you can't take that one guy down? Come on. That's your job. And even if the worst case scenario, if you go in there, you have a shoot off with him and you only get in a firefight with him for like 20, 30 seconds and then he ends up killing you, that is what you should do. That security guard should have sacrificed his life to hold out for that 25, 30 seconds, even if he couldn't outgun the guy, or he got the teenager with the AR-15 managed to outsmart him in the firefight and shoot him. That 25, 30 seconds allows other kids to escape. You saved lives by sacrificing yourself. And no, not every person can do that. Of course, I'm not saying every person can do that. But an armed security guard should do that. Should be prepared. When he took that job, he knew that is a possibility of the job. He should have been mentally prepared to do that. So that is my solution. Having armed guards, armed policemen, or custodians who conceal carry. The kids don't know about it if you want to go down that route also. Who are in every single fucking school. So that when a complete fucking faggot who wants to shoot innocent kids comes into a school, he has no idea which adult, there are many adults running around, which adult can get the upper hand on him. A custodian or armed security person, even undercover is easier because you can blend in with other adults, can get the drop on him because he's busy killing kids. Shooting assault rifle without ear protection is very deafening. You can easily get the drop on him if you're a concealed carry and you just look like a janitor. That will stop school shootings. Not all of them. There will always be the possibility that the school shooter will kill like 3 or 4 people before the concealed person gets on him, or that something bad happens and then the concealed carry person gets shot. But it will significantly lower the amount of deaths of children by school shootings, unlike what people are advocating for, taking away the AR-15 or taking away assault rifles. There is no way to lower any amount of deaths from anything down to 0. That's impossible. No policy will do that. But this policy will significantly lessen the amount of school children being shot because armed people in the school can react faster than fucking pussy cops waiting outside in their car. And when these school shooters are often motivated by past school shooters. They see the fame and the media attention they get, like, oh, I'm going to do that too. But when they see a staggering number of school shooters who only like get off a couple of shots and only kill like 3 or 4 people before they're gunned down by the janitor who's concealed carry, they're like, wow, this really isn't working anymore. Every single time this happens, we can only kill a couple people before we get shot. We can't kill 17, 26, 30 people like we used to before we enacted the armed concealed carry in schools. So maybe I won't do that. That is the policy that will work, but Democrats will never do that because apparently, I'm talking with a bunch of them, apparently it's barbaric to have people with guns defending our children. What do we have the military for? If defending children with guns is barbaric and immoral, then shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of my fucking country.